Good evening. Wish me luck tonight. I did say on Twitter just now, it could be my final show. Between now and 5 to 8, we'll decide. We've got all the ingredients here. We've got an owl, we've got 2 blades, and we've also got a little bit of, well, quite strong tea in the studio. All of us. Cheers, everybody.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, gents. From right to left, as I look, Ryan Hindley, who needs that more than most, the manager of Hallam FC, and commiserations sincerely on your playoff.
Is that for commiserations or celebrations?
Both, bit of both. Celebrations to our new manager of Handsworth Paramore, not ours, but the new manager of Handsworth Paramore, man in the news in non-league football, having resigned from Sheffield FC a few days ago. He's back in a job already, Jazz Colliver. And this man, who needs no introduction, on his second visit, all these guys have been here before, it's amazing. This guy, of course, is a Sheffield Wednesday fan, a big Sheffield Wednesday fan. Dare I say, in more ways than one, Jon McClure? More ways than one?
In every possible way, Alan.
Yeah. Of the Reverend and the Makers, indeed, the Reverend himself, lead singer.
Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed for bringing your beers in. These are my beers to start with in the first half.
Lovely.
Okay.
Lovely.
You like it? Right, okay, we'll go. Right, the show will degenerate, so we'll start with John first, because he might be the first to go. You banged some heads together recently, and I thought it was very, very impressive how you came out on social media, local radio, to, at a time when Sheffield Wednesday, I think, were going through a bit of a sticky spell, 1 win in 6. Since you banged those heads together, it's 5 successive victories.
Feel vindicated, mate. I do feel like you know, there's a bit of justification there. Ultimately, we were going through a bad spell, and there's a certain sector of Sheffield Wednesday fans who, for whatever reason, feel a sense of entitlement, right? Because of last season, or because we're deemed to be a big club or massive or whatever it is. There's a certain sector of our fans who think we're going to just tonk everybody and be Barcelona. It's not like that. It's a difficult league, the Championship, and they started to get into this, call us out. People are saying, let's get Pearson, let's get Rowett. And I mean, look at Birmingham, right? They replaced Rowett with Zola, didn't win a game for 20-odd games. Now he's gone. You can be very quick, I think, to kind of, you know, sack your manager and try and do something. And I don't think that is the right course of action. We stuck with Carlos. Mr. Chansiri stuck with him. We're flying. And I feel like Alt Mourners have gone a bit quiet, haven't they?
They certainly have. They're still there, though. They're there at every club. Let's be honest, they're there at every
You know what I loved, though? We smashed Norwich, right? 5-1 or whatever it was. Yeah. And so I puts on, like, Alt Mourners have had it now. Stop mourning. And we're like, it's because of us that we've done that, because he's changed tactics. I'm like, no, you can't have it both ways. You can't mourn we're doing rubbish and then claim credit for us doing well. Yeah. But listen, there's a good feeling around the club at the minute, you know. We're getting all those best players coming back. Leeds. Like, come on, lads, your blades, I know, but come on, we all love that, don't we? Yeah. So yeah, it looks good.
I'm going to Elland Road on Saturday. That's the game I'm doing for TalkSport. So I'll not join you in this particular conversation. But you talk about the feel-good factor. It's there at both sides of the city for the first time, probably simultaneously in many years. Jazz.
Absolutely.
It's great, isn't it?
It's great. We were involved in Sheffield United's promotion party. We welcomed them back after the Northampton game. The scenes around Bramall Lane were frightening. Things that I'll never ever leave me as long as I'm alive. But across the city again, I think if they win on Saturday, they secure the place in the playoffs. And like John said, Leeds, maybe a Leeds Wednesday final. I don't actually know I'd like to win that one because I don't like either of them, to be fair. But yeah, there's got to be one winner. But yeah, it's a great feel around the city. So fair play, and hopefully it'll continue.
We'll come on to your news and talk about non-league football in a short while. Leaving Sheffield FC, quickly back in a job at Handsworth Paramore. There's got to be a bit of a story in that. So we'll talk. But we've got to bring this guy in. And first of all, I really did feel for you, Ryan, Hallam FC manager, still the Hallam FC manager.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
The chairman's rung me today.
As we speak. The other night, losing in the playoffs for the second year in succession.
You're not doing my CV any good, are you?
Well, not really. Well, we mention you every week, usually for the right reasons. 3-2, having been 2-0 ahead. This was against Grimsby Borough.
Yeah, it's like I said. I think I said to you earlier, Alan. I think you'd rather lose 3-0
where you can say you've been outclassed, you've been outplayed. But in honesty, it's tough to take when you're 2-0 up at half time. You've told the lads to do a job. They need to go out and carry on what they're doing. But just be mindful that you know. I think we all know football here. The first 15 minutes, first 20 minutes of the second half, they're going to come at us. They've got to do. They're at home. They're in front of their own punters. And we're 2-0 up, and we just didn't manage it. We just didn't manage the game. We didn't follow the game plan, and I won't say we got what we deserve, far from it, but 2 great goals. You know, if Lionel Messi had scored 2 of the goals that they've scored, it'd be shown week after week, day after day. So hard to take, I must admit.
Yeah, and you've been drinking water ever since.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Water diet.
You should always.
Coloured water diet.
Yeah. You've always got to get your fluids on, Alan. Yeah.
This applies, win or lose. It's such an emotional game, isn't it? A sport of any kind. It kind of goes, and we shouldn't say this, but it goes with either, doesn't it, John?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I like to have a few shandies prior to a Wednesday game, and I think it's part and parcel, really. Be nice if we can get nice and pulled ale in Hillsborough now. We've only got one stand selling it, but it's a treat. You know, it's a bit of a treat from your kind of mucky beer we used to have. So it's nice.
Yeah, I like real ale. Yeah,
so
that's mine. I just thought you were a lager man. That's why.
I'll have all. It should be said, Alan. I'll have anything. You know, I'm easy.
Before a gig as well, pre-gig.
Like to smoke me, Alan.
Is that good for the husky voice?
Yeah, gives you that.
Does it?
Yeah, soaked in, kind of, you know, lived sound.
Is it strategic, tactical smoking? No, I mean, I've just got one of these.
No, get you send 20 Benny Allen. Just
that's not real, is it?
Yeah, to improve presenters' voices as well. You think?
That's it. Give you
right.
I thought that was your Byron.
Okay.
I thought you wanted an autograph.
Blades. We talked out there to John about keeping the manager and how correct that is, with Carlos doing a good job. Sheffield United, the story of 5 or 6 years has been, let's get rid of this manager and bring another one in, and thankfully this season that has not been the case, and rightly so.
Again, it's a results-based industry, and Chris, you know, being a friend, the measure of the man, we've lost 3, we've drawn 1, we've got 1 point from the first 4, and you can see the punters getting itchy feet, and it's like I've said, it's the measure of the man, it's the measure of his management team and his squad, the togetherness that we've got. And they die for each other, and it shows. And in the games that I've been privy to watch, from a footballing perspective, we've just been outstanding. We've looked like we could score at will, and there's no surprise. You know, he's stuck by his beliefs. He's got a system that works. He's stuck by it with the odd change here and there. But I think from tee to green we've been outstanding this year. I think we've not really looked like conceding. And when we've gone forward, we've looked like we can score at will. I think we've been excellent, and a few additions. I don't think a massive amount needs changing. I think we've got the 2 best holding midfielders in the league.
Coots and Fleck.
Coots and Fleck. I could watch them play all day, and I think if you put them in any side in the league above, they wouldn't look out of turn. I think, we've got something special, and sometimes when you've got that togetherness and you've got a group of players that are willing to do that for each other, doesn't matter what level you're at. You know, you need that extra bit of quality here and there, but I think we're in a great place, and we've got a great management team.
It's well celebrated last night, actually, at the Sheffield Star Sports Awards. It was a great night at the Doubletree by Hilton Hotel, and Billy Sharp must have walked about 15 miles during the course of the evening, backwards and forwards to the stage. He walks in a straight line as well. Yeah. Managed, and so did Chris Wilder. But it's good to see Dave Bassett and Brian Dean get awards as well. And Sheffield Wednesday got recognised. Are they going to do it, John?
Wednesday? I think we're definitely going to get in playoffs. I think that, you know, the momentum's there. I think they'll go to Ipswich. I like you, think they'll tie up this weekend. Playoffs, it's a lottery, innit? I think the only team that we have to be wary of really is Fulham, because they're flying. They really are flying.
I really fancy it. If I were a betting man, which I am at times, I'd definitely. I just think your depth, your squad, everything about you.
I hope so.
You're getting the key players back as well. You know, obviously Lee's has come back, and Lee.
He's the one.
He's the one that makes it. For me, he's outstanding. And you've also wrapped. Yeah, but you've wrapped Forestieri in cotton wool.
Yeah.
So I really fancy Sheffield Wednesday. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I do.
Thank you. I don't think a lot of fans appreciate how much we miss Kieran Lee. He's the only player who does what he does in terms of. I mean, I'm not a footballer, and I'm not a football person. I'm just a fan, right? But
what are you doing here?
They talk about, well, just blagging it.
He's bought some beers with Les Mis.
But, you know, things like, they call it third man running and things like that. And he jumps lines, and him and Hooper drops, he pushes on. And as midfield and as attack look like they're, you know, playing for the same side when they play.
But Fletcher as well, the experience that you've got going into these bigger games can help massively.
Can I ask you Blades a question? And
don't look at me. Him.
Will Wilder stay if somebody comes in for him? Because he's a great manager, and I congratulate you on what's happened this season. You deserve it. He's been brilliant.
I think what you've got to look at, John, is what's out there. So when we've got promotion now, we're realistically 25, 26,000 fan club when we're at that level. Where else can you go?
I don't know who's going to come down from Prem. Let's say what I don't know.
I'm sure somebody like Sunderland, if they had a stab, you know, you're looking at probably quadrupling your money at a club like that. But would you want the pressure of that when you've got a club that now see you as a god?
There's a certain amount of jobs that would be irresistible to any manager. Man United, Man City, Liverpool, that kind of thing. Tottenham, Chelsea. Chris Wilder, with the best will in the world, is not going to get offered any of those, right? Whether he
not
would
at this moment in time.
No, not at this moment in time, maybe in the future. I don't think there's any other job out there that would appeal to him, that would take him away from Sheffield United.
I think that maybe a Sunderland.
I don't think so.
I'm not saying it would, but I just think money talks.
He can achieve
legend.
anything he wants to, up to the level of the clubs that I mentioned, below that, at Sheffield United.
Maybe so, but I think the legendary status is there. I think if you do go and risk something, managers only get rich by getting sacked. It's as simple as that. Nah, I won't push that on Chris, but it's true.
James Colliver about that in a minute. I don't think he's...
Well, that's all I'm saying is sometimes you have to take a risk, and I think Chris now has got himself in legendary status, and rightly so, and I hope to God he does, and I'm fairly certain he will, but at some point you have to
I think he's just got stuck into a project, hasn't he? He's got stuck into a project, he's backed his ability, he fancied himself in League One, he's going, right, let's get a pre-season behind us and let's hit the ground running Championship level. And let's see where we finish in the Championship, which I agree with John, it's such a tough league, the Championship. It's like a mini Premier League, isn't it? You've got so many good teams, so many strong teams. I heard something about budgets, and I couldn't believe it. People were talking about the budgets that Norwich are paying and Bristol City, and they're sort of mid-table, 8th or 9th in the league. So I think Chris is going, right, let's really looking forward to the challenge of the Championship. And again, I think that everybody fancied his chances in League One.
And the thing is, Sheffield United should not take advantage of his affinity to Sheffield United in terms of negotiations for a new contract. Was surely got to follow what he's achieved. You're nodding to that as well.
Yeah, I just think for the Wednesday, looking across the city, one of the best managers you lot have had was Warnock, right? Who he plays pantomime villain to us, but I like Warnock. I do. You can't help it.
You can't help it. Yeah.
He's obviously a nice bloke, right? And we have a banter with him, but all Wednesday I secretly quite like him, right? He was great, and I felt like, personally, just looking across, that they shouldn't let him go, because I think he was the best thing that they'd ever had for a long, long time. And if I were a Unitedite, you know, I'd be doing all I could to hang on to Wilder, because I think, just as a neutral, even, you know, like, all right, a biased neutral, but he's a brilliant manager. I mean, we're brilliant. With Northampton, he were at before. Worked miracles, didn't he? And for me, he's done the same again. I think he's unbelievable.
Over the years, you pick the best attributes of people that you work with, whether that's a football manager or whether that's in your day-to-day job. And I think that's what Chris has done. So we agree with what with Warnock, but also he talks about Bassett. Chris played under Bassett, so he'll be looking at that going, actually, if we put a Warnock and a Bassett, and with all his knowledge that he's got, and develop, and I think that's what we're getting. We're getting that passion and that desire, and it's clear to see around Bramall Lane.
I think the City's in a good place, and I think it's been a while, and I guess we're sorry we let them down from a non-league perspective, and obviously Stocksbridge did, but from a football league perspective, it's fantastic.
You did us proud, mate. You did us proud, and the football I've seen at Hallam FC this season has been an absolute treat, and whenever I go to Sheffield, that's true as well. Seem to play football for the joy of it at that level, and it's absolutely fantastic to see. Just briefly, I mentioned a few Fulham names there while you were reeling off the Wednesday names, like people like McDonald and Sessignon. They've got loads of quality at Fulham, and I think they're a real danger. I saw them win at Huddersfield 4-1. I saw them win at Newcastle 3-1.
Kearney, I think's a player as well.
There's the one.
Fantastic.
The main one. Yeah, I should have thought of that. We're going to come to Handsworth Paramore. we're going to talk about the circumstances by which you find yourself manager there, and you've got a lot to do with them. But first of all, we must pay tribute and dedicate this programme to the memory of Ian Goodinson, and Nigel Goodinson, I'm sorry, and commiserations to his son Ryan. Nigel Goodinson, as you may have read, died after being taken ill at Hillsborough, watching his beloved Sheffield Wednesday against Derby last Saturday. I hadn't had the pleasure of meeting him, and hadn't realised until the publicity this week how steeped he was, not just in local football in the sense of watching his favourite team, but what he did at your new club, Handsworth Paramore. Just enlighten us.
I mean, myself, I've been affiliated with Handsworth many years, and all the time that I've been affiliated with the club, Nigel has been one of the pioneers of the club, along with many other great people, and the club's still going, and every single Saturday, no matter where it would be, Nigel would be there with a big smile on his face. He'd make sacrifices because he'd want to follow his son and watch Handsworth Paramore, where his real passion was, and try and balance that with Sheffield Wednesday. Such a good fella, and like I put on the tweets, a gentle giant. He would go fishing. He was the biggest wind-up merchant you'd ever meet with Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United. He'd be on Facebook, Twitter, and he would actually be going trying fish, be fishing for some bites. But it's such a tragedy, and when you look at how he's passed away, you try and look at some positives, and it's the positive is that he's actually at Hillsborough. He's gone to watch his beloved Owls. And unfortunately he's passed away with, and I know that everybody were at Hillsborough, the paramedics, the first aiders, the fans, the supporters came to help, and everybody's been unbelievable. And I've spoke to Ryan. Ryan's really struggling, but I'm sure that he's got a lot of good people around him, and we just send his love and his condolences to Ryan, his son, and Nigel's wife, Julie.
He seems a very, very special guy. Echo that. And this tragedy just has brought it. I mean, there's sometimes a real positive from a negative. You wouldn't wish that on anybody or anybody's family. However, his memory seems to have brought the entire city together. Sheffield United and Wednesday fans collectively talking about having a minute's applause.
On the 58th minute, so hopefully both sets of supporters or all four sets of supporters will come together in a round of applause on the 58th minute. So on Sunday, I know that I'll be stood loud and proud, clapping and really supporting Nigel.
And this is the true spirit of football. We always talk about that cliche, putting the game into perspective, but it's really true, isn't it? At heart, we're all the same. We're just football supporters.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I didn't know the fella, but there's just the output. I mean, I know lots of people who did know him, and they all spoke incredibly highly of him. And I think, like, for all that we have as banter with Wednesday United, I think
no more so.
It's only a game.
No more so than Nigel.
It is only a game. It is only a game. Having said that, when I saw the news last weekend that you'd left or resigned from Sheffield FC, you always think he's been sacked, don't you? You always think that, don't you, with any manager at any level?
Tim's is involved, possibly, yeah.
Just tell us, we've got a minute to the break.
Just a quick round.
You weren't sacked, were you?
No, I weren't sacked. I'd heard there was approach from Handsworth Paramore. If it were any other non-league club, I wouldn't have been interested. Handsworth have come, like I said, a big affiliation with the club. And I felt as though I've been at Sheffield FC, the world's first, really proud manager for the last 14 months. But I just felt as though it were a new opportunity for me to get my teeth stuck into a project and get Handsworth into the Evo stick, and that's his aim. So Handsworth in the Evo stick would be brilliant for Handsworth and the local area and the community. So that's the aim. So yeah, really thankful for Sheffield FC for giving me the opportunity, but can't wait to get going now at Handsworth.
And in fact, the announcement would have come earlier, but for the respectful delay in paying tribute to Nigel Goodinson. And we repeat that here as we go into the ad break. More from Jon McClure, who's staying with us, and from Ryan Hindley, and from Jazz Colliver. James Gregg will briefly substitute you in the second half, shaking his head.
He's used to
get dragged.
You can go for a beer. You've got 5 minutes. See you.